Good evening, everyone. Glad I have some voice, because this morning my voice was gone again. So I was saying, okay, this is not going to be a show this evening, but I really wanted to do the show after, last week absence and my 2 months off. So today's, as you expected, it's not going to be a very technical show. I'll mainly talk about IBC and not so much what I saw there, because I didn't see a lot, but more about what happened before, during and after IBC. I'll take this one for a moment off. It certainly has been very interesting, not only because I was working for a week over there, but yeah, I'll explain more later. There were a few surprises, but yeah. This is Dan the Banana Man. Hi Amy, glad to see you again. Oh dear. Well, apparently I'm temperature dropped by a significant margin over here, and every time when that happens, I have some problems. Well, Amy, I gave a tip to Tommy where you can find these. Just look for Banana Man, and for a few bucks you can find them on Amazon also. And these can be really fun, but later more about that. Oops, Dan is falling. Okay, a little less than 3 minutes. When John is going to come in, he's probably going to laugh, because as it's not going to be a technical show and just me do the talking, and yeah, I say it every week, probably not going to be a 1 hour long show, but as you know, with me it often goes to the 1 hour mark. Hey, Mr. Steed. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I think Martin is watching from his bed. Yeah, Martin is on a holiday, and even on a holiday he's watching my show, so thumbs up, Martin. Okay, let me take off this sticker for a moment, so I'll be ready for... Sorry for that. You're probably going to see me a lot of drinking, otherwise I'm going to cough a lot. I still have a kind of a special setup today. My professional mic is just out of sight. I'm not wearing the headset I used a lot in other episodes. But I see that it's less than a minute ago, so I prepare my first shot, and then we can start the talking. A cough drop, that's a good idea, Amy. And I need my cough button again. Okay, 20 seconds. This is my cough button. Let's start the show. This show is sponsored by X-Keys, the no slogan company, but a company that knows how to push a button. Welcome everyone, episode number 22 of the School of Live Streaming. I'm your host Rudy, and welcome Tommy Willis, Martin Steed and Amy Bowser-Rollins. Today's episode, as said in the pre-show, is all about IBC. I'm not going to talk a lot about vMix today. That's for the upcoming weeks. Hey, hello Dan. So IBC. As you probably know, IBC is the European counterpart of NAB, and according to people who went already to NAB, it's a little small, but still too many holes to see in one day. I think you need at least 3 days if you want to see everything, and still. So almost 2 weeks ago on Thursday morning, I left with the train here, and let's say 3 hours later I was at the RAI, because I needed this. So this is the official exhibitor badge that gives you access to the show, and yeah, it was maybe 100 people already waiting, but it went smoothly, and I went immediately into the hall. I think it was about 11 o'clock, 11ish noon, and I went straight to the booth. Well, at least that was my objective. But as Dan can probably testify here, the first time when you arrive there and to find the right hole, it's really a mess. The signage is a mess. So it costed me well, at least 20 minutes to find the vMix booth, but nobody was there. Tim told me that they were coming in the afternoon to set everything up. So I said, okay, let's visit X-Keys then. Another quarter of an hour before I found the X-Keys booth. No one at X-Keys. So okay. So I just wandered around a little bit, grabbed some lunch, and then in the early afternoon I went to the vMix booth. And the first thing I got at the vMix booth was this fella. There's a little bit green in it. But these are the European mouse mats. So you see then with a package of French fries and of course the bicycle. Maybe I have one for me and I have a spare one that one of these weeks I'll do kind of a small contest and give one of the mouse mats away. So I saw Tim and yeah, we had a small chat. He said, yeah, tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning, it's okay, you're here. So my first evening, I went to the hotel. I had a great dinner in the neighborhood of the hotel. And then the second day, that was Friday, the show started at 10:30, I think, and Tim asked if we could be at 9:30 there. So he was going to explain everything. So I was, of course, way too early at the booth, set up a few things, and then Tim came. Martin K was there, and a German guy was there, Yannick, and he was more or less doing the instant replay stuff. Hi Mel, welcome. So Tim gave us, and this is really interesting, it was not, okay, here's the boot, bam. Tim gave us some great tips, what we could say, what we couldn't say, because apparently there are some people who likes to take selfies with Tim and Martin, and then they use this picture, they do some Photoshop, and then they say that they are official resellers of vMix, which is not true. So Tim warned us not to take selfies with people you don't know. If there were people that you already know, not a problem to take a selfie, but be careful doing that. Also, the way how we should address people coming to the booth. Tim had a lot of experience with, he said, look, some people are going to come here with very strange questions. Maybe some people from the concurrents. He gave us some great tips to do it. And then the show started. And from that moment on, it was really crazy. Normally the first day, Friday, is still easy going. But our booth, immediately people came over. We had to explain some stuff. And I had, let's say, half an hour time the first day. And I went to the, of course, I wanted to say goodbye, hello to PI Engineering, to Dan and Maggie. I knew where the booth was, so I found it rather quickly. And I say, hey, Dan, Maggie, and I knew Dan from online, but immediately we got kind of a connection. And yeah, Dan said, hey, Rudy, we have a surprise for you. And he gave me this. Later I show you a very good picture of this. So he gave me my own Lego figure. And this is already going to be my first rent. I said, oh, thank you, Dan. And yeah, I was very happy with the figure. I was looking a little bit. Yes, and then said, yeah, Miranda, put your own logo on it. And then it was only then that I saw that Miranda put the logo of the School of Live Streaming on the figure. So my rant is, people give you something and you just take it. Okay, instead of taking the time to look it very closely and see what other people have done with it. Because I think if Dan wouldn't have shown me that, maybe only in Belgium that would say, hey, my logo is on it. So it was a kind of embarrassing that I only saw it afterwards. But all the people from PI Engineering, thanks again for this lovely figure. So before I'll talk more about what happened at the vMix booth, I have kind of I took a few pictures, and I think it's going to be less dull that I show you some pictures. Let me go to the first one. This one is when I arrived at the booth. We had two big bananas, and yeah, of course I had to say goodbye. You see that it was the first day because I'm still wearing my my walking boots. This one was when I went to the PI Engineering booth, when Dan gave me the Lego figure, and that was yeah, or one of the first big moments with PI Engineering. Maybe even more strange than seeing Dan was seeing Maggie, and I called her immediately Max. I don't know why. I only saw her once when she was doing the show with Miranda. But again, we had immediately a connection, and it was really, really great. This is a close-up of the figure. So you see they put on some headphones. He has a microphone and he has my logo on it. So now I'm probably going to play again with Lego. I already ordered some Lego bricks, and I'm going to build my own set, not going to mimic the PI Engineering set. But yeah, it's nice that you have your own Lego figure. This was, I think, Friday evening, so I was planning to go to my hotel again. And I have an annoying fly here. As you see here, Martin Steed also showed up, which was a very nice surprise. Well, not a surprise for me, because I knew already for weeks that he was going to come, but it has to be a surprise for Dan. And this was really crazy when Martin showed up, and yeah, he said hello to Dan. And we were invited with the PI Engineering crew to have some dinner. Now, it was in the neighborhood of the Heineken brewery. Yeah, near the Heineken brewery is the water, and if you see the water, that's Heineken. We were planned to go eat, I think, Indian or something like that. But 50 meters further, we saw an Irish pub. And of course, we said, yeah, let's grab some beers before we're going to eat. Long story short, we didn't left the pub. We ate at the pub. And for the rest, what happened at the pub stays at the pub. But we had a really great evening. This is the owner of PI Engineering, and this is the guy that has Xkeys UK. This was the first day, I think. So I prepared everything, and if I look closely, yes, these are the leaflets. So you're not going to believe it, because we had a big box with leaflets, and I think the day before the last one, we ran out of leaflets, and I heard from other people that seems to be a difference with NAB, where people doesn't take a leaflet or whatever. And apparently at IBC, people take those leaflets, take those mouse mats and other stuff. This was more or less my site. I'll show you other pictures. You see here the X-Keys T-bar, which was a huge success. We had a small camera, Canon camera, keyboard, and in this closet was the laptop. Tim got some for the X-Keys T-bar. Tim got some extra keys, and as serious as he's always, this one he was putting together kind of a kit so we could show with different colors and different kind of shortcuts what were we able to do. First day or second day, I already forgot. And who showed up there? Jens. And again, I think I only saw Jens once last year at IBC when Jens was doing the instant replay. Jens just came over to say goodbye, and well, we hugged each other, and it was like we always knew each other, and it was so nice to see Jens. I think if Jens would have done the instant replay, would have the perfect show. What you see here is the new Magewell. Martin K has one, and that's not only converts. It's an NDI converter. This is the 4K version. If I remember well, so it's not only but it converts to NDI. The 4K one is, I think, around $1,000, but there are going to be cheaper versions, HDMI, just HD, and SDI, and they're going to be around $500. Martin K did a very interesting test between the Magewell and other dongles, and he's I believe Martin, and he said that he was very happy with it. This is was more or less my boot. So you see the mouse mats. We had a lot of mouse pads, but I made 5 piles for each day, because otherwise probably the first day all the mouse mats were gone, which was at some moments rather annoying. People were taking 5 mouse mats. They were not even asking questions about vMix. They were just taking the mouse mats, and they made me the mouse pad master. So from time to time I was saying, hey, one mouse mat please. Yeah, this was the X-Keys T-bar with the 3 big buttons. We had 3 buttons of these, which triggered camera 1, camera 2, and then the overlay. Yeah, mousepad police. This was the other side, where Yannick was mainly doing his thing. It was all about mostly about instant replay. Very strange, but and I forgot the name of the company. This is a Slow-Mo Mini. The company that makes this piece of equipment, they weren't there. They had a booth, but they weren't there. For the rest, same setup. what we did was we connected this camera and converted to NDI. So at my booth, I could show this camera via NDI. Second evening or third evening, well, maybe because I forgot the thing. So every evening we went to dinner, mainly the PI engineering guys from time, well, Tim from vMix, Martin and myself, and Dan and well also Max like a good beer. But I said, yeah, I can show you and let you taste some beers, but not Dutch ones. And rather amazing, but almost in every restaurant we went, there were kind of special Belgian beers. And that gave me the opportunity to let taste our American friends some Belgian beers. This is a Duvel, and this is the Koning. So Dan wanted to taste an amber beer after Duvel. Yeah, as you see, we had a great time. This was a huge success at the PI engineering booth. And how do you say it again in English? Boys and their toys or something like that. But it was amazing. Whenever I went to the PI engineering booth and I see some adults, the first thing they did was Lego, and they were very interesting how this was working. One moment I think a father took some pictures because they said, yeah, my son is going through the roof, and I show him the picture of a Lego studio. And it's interesting because this shows you also that as a company, that sometimes you need to think out of the box, because these are 3 Microsoft USB cameras, and they're connected to vMix, and with the green screen here, they are showing some footage behind those 2 screens. It's really very well done, and it was kind of a trigger to attract people to the other products of PI engineering. Which was really great. This was another day, another famous beer, Cornet. Yeah, Dan had really needed proof that we drank beer and not coffee, so we took as many pictures as we could. This one, it was, and let me just put myself a little, no, this is the wrong one. This is the one I need. Well, whatever. So many people came over to our booth just to say hi, and a few people were saying thank you very much for such a nice product, which was amazing. A little bit more later in the show, but this was a guy from Russia, and he asked a few questions, and then he said, I have 3 bars of chocolate for you. This is apparently one of the famous chocolates of Russia. I tasted it, but it's not Belgian chocolate, and that's the only thing I want to say about it. But again, it shows, I think, that, and I quickly swap to this shot. It shows that vMix is not only a product, and I'm biased, of course, but it's kind of a community. So many people came over, gave us tips, said hi, gave us presents, and it's something that's very rare, I think. because a lot of companies are really focused on just gaining so much money. And I saw a few booths, without naming them, where people were just sitting on a chair, totally uninterested, and people didn't stop, of course. They sat there, they were playing with their phones or whatever. And I never understand this. And like, just a guy giving us this, showed how good the community is. And I think the day before the last one, or one day earlier, there was a bowling hall just in front of the hall. And our American friends were really eager to have a game of bowling. There has been already too much fake news about the results, so I'm going to be very quiet about the results. The picture says everything you see here, that we had so much fun. It was really great. And maybe this picture shows maybe the best how we and PI Engineering were more like one team. When people came to our booth, we sent people over to the X-Keys booth. X-Keys, they sent people over to our booth. Dan had given me some address cards, where people could find the number of the PI Engineering booth, and it was really a big pile of cards. And the day before the last one, I had to make a call to Dan. Dan, give us more cards because we are out of cards. So you see here, it was so much fun. And the last day, Tim and I said, we need to do something special. So we took one of the two Dans and went with Dan to, some booths. I even managed to do some photobombing, because the last day everyone wants to take some pictures of their booth. And I was watching, whenever they were taking a picture of the booth, I showed up Dan, and we had great time. People were watching, the vMix guys are there again. So this is Dan and Max with one of the Dans. This is Max posing with Dan. You see every picture, the fun we had. It was hard work, but we had a lot of fun. This was our very last night, and again it shows the friendship we had, because we were planning to do something, but the communication, there was something wrong with the communications. The show was stopped at 4 o'clock, so at let's say 4:30, 5 o'clock, everyone was out. I said, I'm going to wait a little bit, had a beer. 6 o'clock, nothing. Strange. So I went to the hotel, and the moment I was at the hotel, I received a call from Dan. Hey, do you want to eat us? So the Last Supper. I said, okay, no problem. And can you contact Tim? So Tim was staying a little bit on the edge of just outside of Amsterdam. He needed to take a train for 20 minutes. And Tim said, no problem, I take the train. So Tim took the train, 20 minutes, I took the tram, and we ended up in a Mexican restaurant. and had some, well, at least I had some great food. It was a really nice ending of a great show, and this was a picture I took at home with a badge, mouse pad, and Banana Man, and yeah, my own Lego figure. This was kind of the presentation. I still have mixed feelings about this part, because yeah, it brings back very good memories, and I think I wrote it on my Facebook page. Yeah, these days gave me an extra family, I think. I and Martin and I were so very well received by the PI engineering people, that I think, Martin, that I can say that we had one of the best days of, or well, at least live streaming live. And for me, it's yeah, I'll stop because otherwise some water is going to come down, and I leave it for the outside. So maybe a little, and I keep an eye, almost half an hour, a little bit about the vMix booth. The first day, Martin Sinclair showed us vMix 22. Unfortunately, I cannot say anything about new stuff because I'm under NDA. But in the next show, they probably going to tell you what's going to be new in vMix 22. I think, honestly, that some people are going to be very happy. Maybe a few are going to be disappointed. For me, what's going to be new is a good one. And yeah, some people just came to the booth asking, what's new in vMix 22? What's new in vMix 22? For the rest, it was amazing, the wide range of people we got. There were people from radio stations that we said, what? People were using vMix for a radio station, professional TV stations, end users like you and me. Our national television came by. We have a center where youth people are making news. They invited me to come over to our national TV station. Some people from Switzerland came over to say hi, Rudy. Just come over to say hi. Some people from France wanted some explanation, and what Tim told us before, and what I also like to do, is we really took our time. It was not 5 minutes and then that we were totally uninterested. People, if I was talking to someone, and that was almost whole day, if there was someone else, they needed to wait, and that was really appreciated by a lot of people. But it was really crazy, and I also learned a lot, because people were saying, yeah, I'm doing it that way and that way, and we got also a lot of questions. Sometimes people were expecting also too much of vMix. The craziest one that came by the booth was, he had a TriCaster 8000, and he apparently also had a vMix license. And then he asked, yeah, why is vMix not be able to do that and that and that? Yeah, you're using a kind of equipment of a few $10,000 maybe dollars, and you expect that the most expensive version of vMix, $1,200, can do the same as your TriCaster? No. And Tim said exactly, look, we don't want to compete against the big guys. They're in a totally different league. There was also a guy that had the TC1 of NewTek, the Skype machine, which is $3,000. And he also expected that vMix could do the same. So there is a price difference. That's one of the reasons. But most people just were saying, hey, yeah, we want this and this and this extra, but we are already so happy with the product. In the Netherlands, apparently, vMix is used a lot in communities. Every village has more or less kind of a closed TV circuit, and they are using vMix for that. And they had some, in that perspective, I think the most asked question at the show was, can vMix do the kind of the, how do you call it? All the shows one after the other, 24/7. That there's kind of a playlist for a show. Well, I asked Tim about it, and it's apparently it's not that easy to implement. Maybe there's someone, well, a few people already have already made a program like that. That was asked a lot. Also about implementing more outputs, because as you know, vMix has officially only one output. If you want, and people are saying, yeah, but we like to stream maybe at the same time output number 1 to Facebook and output number 2 to YouTube. So that was also something that was being asked a lot. But it were really very interesting days. And that gives me more or less the bridge to at least show you a few things about what I saw. The biggest disadvantage of working at the booth was I almost didn't had any time to visit all the other halls. Tim said a few times, hey guys, if you want to have a look somewhere, just go, but there were always so many people at the booth, and it was really hard just to say, hey, I'm off for a few hours, I'm going to visit other booths. And let me see where I have put again, because okay, I think this is the one. Yep, okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is BirdDog. They were just next to us. Great guys, by the way. And they created a lot of buzz. Of course, you know already the BirdDog studio. And they showed also the Mini, which is the smallest NDI encoder, and they had 4 big screens. And we're taking out an NDI source from one of their laptops and showing that on the screens with almost no delay. And this is, by the way, BirdDog is full NDI. You see here what it can do. So you can take an output of a camera or screen or a PC or whatever, convert it to an NDI source, and then send it to a screen. So here you send it here via the network, and then you come out via HDMI to one of the screens. Now, an even bigger announcement was their PTZ range, or PTZ range, whenever you are. Crazy stuff, to be honest. It starts at $1,500. By the way, this is full NDI, so not NDI HX. this is full NDI. I'm going to pre-order this camera, the P100. This one, the P200, is yeah, and as you probably know, the links are going to be in the description notes of this session. I think this is going to be a big seller, and they are using, I think, Sony lenses for their cameras. This one is kind of a security camera. You see the prices, and the most expensive one, 6,500. I said, what is this? Does it have two lenses? No, it has a laser, and it can focus in almost complete darkness. So, but I think these two, the $1,500 one and the $2,500 one, they are going to be, yeah, a big seller. Estimated time of arrival, probably January. And I contacted them, and I'm probably going to have one of the first P100s if I can pre-order them. And as you see, they have also a very nice PTZ keyboard, complete NDI. It's the first NDI keyboard, where you can, yeah, do whatever you want with your PTZ cams. A second visit I did, because I knew the product already, is PadCaster. As you probably know, I'm doing also some Mojo work, mobile journalism, and in Ireland there is every year a Mojo conference, and it was being shown there for the first time. So what the main thing they want to do is, with that, they sell some stuff. You can use a few iPhones and use an iPad to do the switching. What they're making is kind of a kit. You can also film with your iPad, so there are several options. This is a complete kit with an iPad, a thing to put your iPad in. You can put an extra microphone, a light. This is a teleprompter for an iPhone, a very small tripod, and everything can be put into a shoulder bag. So when you want to do some very fast stuff in the streets journalism, it's a really nice piece of equipment. And the guy who showed me this was a guy who worked at the BBC, and yeah, he gave his card. I can contact him when we're going to do some stuff with Madewell or other things. He said, yeah, I'm really interested in showing these kind of things. So I'm probably going to buy later, well, in the beginning of next year, a kit, so I can do everything with iPad and iPhone. And maybe, well, before I go to the chat and answer a few questions of you, one of the big announcements was New Tech. They launched NDI 3.7, which includes an SDK for software and hardware vendors, including an FPGA NDI encoder. Now, without going too technical, FPGA is, let's say, it's a chip that you can put in whatever you want, and then you can reprogram it, update it. One of the, and I forgot the name of the company, the company that makes all those small screens, they have already put the chip in one of their screens, and it's doing already the NDI conversion. So what this is going to do, and I think, to be honest, that people who bought the PTZ Optics upgrade, 300 or 600 euro, they're not going to laugh, because this is now freely available, and that means that all manufacturers who are making televisions, beamers, cameras can now make their equipment NDI compatible if they want to. And when I was walking at IBC, everywhere you were hearing the same thing. For audio and video, it's NDI for video, Dante for audio. Everything is going to be Ethernet over Ethernet or whatever. I think in a few years probably networks are going to evolve. I think most of the equipment is going to be connected via network. And I downloaded today the latest version of the NewTek NDI tools can be downloaded already. I downloaded it on my 2 laptops, so I have a play with it. It has become better, but it gives all the companies the ability to incorporate it in their products. I'll do a show probably later in the year with Martin Kay, and then we are going to try to show you everything, what NDI is really all about, because it's for a lot of people it's still a buzzword. What's NDI? What do I need to do network wise and stuff like that? So Martin and I am going to talk about that probably, but maybe this was the biggest news of the show. Now, bear in mind, this show is mainly focused to really professionals who are using tons of equipment and have a lot of money. But you see that a lot of smaller companies are coming to IBC, and they see the interest of more and more people are starting to use live streaming. And if you see the prices of cameras going down, NDI gives even more possibilities. I think we're going to have some interesting times in front of us. Just to show you, this can be downloaded for free if you go to the NewTek website, newtek.com/NDI/tools. You can download here studio monitor, converter, virtual input, all these things for free. For Windows, you can download them. For Mac, there is only the video monitor, the scan converter, Creative Cloud, and Access Manager. I put a link in the show notes so you can download it and have a go with it. Okay. This was more or less my presentation and talk about the show. As told before, not really a technical one. I just wanted to give my emotions about the show, how I experienced it. I don't know if you guys have, because I didn't pay too much attention to the chat, to be honest. I quickly browsed it. If you have questions about the boot, vMix or whatever, please ask them again, so I try to answer them. Martin Steed is my help here. Atomos, and while I'm talking, I'll show it to you. Atomos as the Atomos has brought this thing, the Ninja V, which is a 5-inch 4K recorder. And I don't know if I can stop this here. And you see here what Atomos, because at first we were thinking, hey, this is the NDI converter. No, this is just the network connection. But Atomos is doing is really, I think it's really great. You have at the back, well, the NDI conversion is done in their Ninja V, and then they can add some extra modules. This is just to make the network connections, but people were already saying, yeah, maybe they're going to add another module, an HDMI, maybe an SDI, maybe some other stuff. So this opens again some other possibilities. So with the Atomos, these recorders are really great. So if you have a Lumix, a Panasonic, and you can't record the 4K version natively, with a recorder like a Ninja, you can do it. It's really great stuff, the Atomos. So thank you, Martin, for clearing that out. And it's even working on batteries. Then, and let me see, because I have Vmix Social here. Let me see if I can put myself here again, and let me put this one up here. So Dan is asking if the last release of NDI includes elevator control protocol. I'll have to check that then. Let me see if there were already some other questions. Yep. A lot of the interaction, yeah, with PI engineering, which was really great. And yeah, Dan talked about it during their latest show last Friday. But it was the first time that PI engineering was at IBC. And apparently what was interesting for them was that people could see the complete things from X keys, the 24, the 48, the T-bar, because they were asking people, do you know X keys? Yeah, we're already using it. But it was maybe there for the first time that people saw the T-bar or yeah, other X keys. So it gives you again, we often forget what, yeah, how people are attracted to certain products. For vMix, for me, I think it's a lot has to do with the community, because people are saying, hey, we really like, there were also some complaints, but I want to do a positive show. It's about the community. X keys, we saw that. I'm thinking from time to time. Then I'm working for PI engineering, because I went a few times to their booth. So, but it was just there that people could see the whole. They can see it on the website, but it's something else. For me, for instance, it was a big surprise, the difference between the X-Keys 24 and 128 T-bar. This thing is heavy. It's as much as I like my X-Keys 24, but when you take the 124 T-bar, it's like a piece of metal that you're thinking. You see, wow, this has really great quality. And because it's IBC is all about broadcasting, I said I'm not really interested in this T-bar. But I can assure you, most people coming to the vMix booth, the first thing they did was playing with the T-bar. Yeah, I know this T-bar. I come from a professional broadcast background, and they still like to use a T-bar. We also had fun with the T-bar, but that's maybe for another show. The question for Dan here, same crew next time or Miranda as well? Yeah, I think if Miranda has seen some of the pictures and footage that she was, well, someone had to hold the fort in the United States. But it was a really interesting experience. People already asked, "Hey, are you going to do it next year?" I'm not sure, to be honest. I really like to do it again. I'm certainly going to be again to IBC, as only if it's to see the PR engineering guys and girls. But it's really incredible how hard it was. When you were there, you were in kind of a zone, and you were explaining everything. But every evening we went out to dinner. But I think it was the day before the last one that Dan and Miranda and we had kind of a dinner, and we all said, "I'm so tired." And a lot of people were also saying that it was one day too much, because the last day it's only till 4 o'clock. A lot of companies are taking the opportunity just to talk with other companies, and yeah, for me also the same. The same happened. The last day was it was a day too much, and I really like to see other stuff, and that's of course it's almost impossible. Again, Tim told us many times, "Hey guys, if you want to visit, just say me something, and you can visit some stuff." But no regrets whatsoever, and probably I'll be there again next year as at the vMix booth, another booth, or as just me and myself. Probably what I really like to do is with Martin, go around and do some interviews. I was planning to do it with Martin Kay, but we were all so busy. Yeah. Okay, Dan is saying that they will try to get Miranda also there. That would be really great. Yeah, Merle, I think that's I think this is totally correct, that Tommy is on the no-fly list. Tommy is famous all over the world. They came asking questions about him, but I said, look, yeah, also for Tommy, I'm under a non-disclosure agreement. I can't tell too much about Tommy. Well, not really when there is a camera in the neighborhood, but you're great, Tommy. Amy is saying, yeah, attending conferences can be exhausting. Working a booth can be more so because you're stuck there. Yes, and because I had to speak a lot. And the last day, the before last one, because I spoke 3 or 4 languages over there. One was better than the other, but I think at a certain moment I was talking to a guy, I think a French guy, and then I started with a few words in Dutch and English. I was mingling three languages at the same time, and it was. I said, "Oh, now I'm really getting tired," and even last week I had 3 days, extra off from work, and some friends invited me in the evening to have a drink. And I started to speak in English to them. I said, "Hey, Rudy, you're in Belgium again." I said, "Yeah, sorry." So it's strange sometimes how quickly your mind adapts to certain changes. And I also felt that after 2 or 3 days that my English was more fluently. And I said, "Yeah, if something you don't understand, please say it." And people really liked it that you could address them in their own language. And then I was luckily, of course, that the guy next to me was from Germany, so I didn't have to speak a few words in German. I said, "Well, you're German. Okay, that's for that guy." Yeah, I don't know if there are any more questions. I keep an eye on the chat. Next week I'll probably have a talk about if you save presets in vMix, where everything is located exactly. After seeing last week's SOLS show, I think, or this week a little bit, there was some discussion where the shortcuts were, and I'll show it you live, where everything is located. People at Wolst, Irvin did a great job, by the way, explaining how to back up everything. And I'll show you where everything is located, so that it makes it a little bit easier. I'll probably have a guest. Well, we talk maybe a little bit about IBC, but seeing from someone who visited it. That's the last time we're going to talk about IBC. And I have a few things that I want to show you, what people asked me at IBC. Because, again, people were using vMix sometimes. There was one guy, he was using vMix via browser. So I said, what's the use? He was giving all the commands to do the switching via browser. So yeah, I'm used to it. And he created some his own kind of X keys, and he did some shortcuts. I'll just show it to you quickly, but the main thing is going to be about where everything is resided in vMix. Martin is saying, yeah, we met Irvin at IBC. So Irvin is living 15 minutes drive from where I'm, and Irving was, as myself, really happy that most equipment was way too expensive, because I went with him and Martin in one of the OB vans. Martin, I think you can you can also tell what it did to you visiting this OB van. There were screens everywhere, microphones, audio, across, really crazy big OB van. But yeah, that was, at the same time I was feeling happy that I didn't saw everything, because I said, I want this and I want that and I want that, I want that. It was yeah. Okay guys, yeah, as expected, again more than 1 hour. I hope it was a little bit. It was kind of interesting. I know it was just me doing the talking, but I just wanted to give, yeah, kind of an. You have seen the people from vMix talking about from their standpoint. You've seen Dan talking his standpoint from IBC. My standpoint was more that of kind of someone who helped at the booth. And next week, well, probably Martin is just having a quick chat about what he was thinking about IBC and his impressions. So that gives you a kind of a complete view about IBC. It doesn't have to be every week, I think, about technical stuff. So guys, thanks for staying so long with me this evening. I hope to see you back next week again. Same day, same time. I'll keep an eye on the chat, and I see you next week. Bye bye. Okay, thanks everyone. I wasn't sure about this week's show because I know it's not always easy when you just need to listen to someone and who doesn't show a lot. That was, I showed you a few pictures of, well, it was more or less the social thing, which was for me, as you probably heard in the beginning, the social thing was for me the best thing at this year's IBC. And it gives me also kind of a new boost that I want, because as you probably have known, I struggled a few times with the future of the School of Live Streaming, but this experience gave me some extra fuel. There are going to be some changes, but I'll talk about that later when everything is more or less permanent. But let's just say that it's not going to be me talking 1 hour or showing you 1 hour. It's going to be, we're going to test something out, let's say, using pre-recorded stuff in combination with live stuff to make it more dynamic. And some people, one of the visitor of the vMix booth said, "Hey Rudy, I like your show, but it's way too long for me." And I know there are mixed opinions, but I can understand him that he say it's not always easy just listening 1 hour. I said, I really appreciate your timestamps at the YouTube, but maybe it's just easier for you that you just do half an hour show, and that we know it. So it's something we're going to test in the coming weeks. Probably we're going to, I think that vMix 22 beta is going to be launched next month, maybe. So that's going to give us something new to play with and to see how it's working for us. But the thing that's for me still the most important thing here and on the show is the interaction with your viewers. It's not only for my show, it was the same on our booth, on the PI engineering booth. The interaction you have with people, clients, I think it shows when you're a company with a lot of followers. I told it a little bit earlier, some booths were empty, they were just showing their stuff. They were not taking the time to explain it properly. And all the booths you were seeing, well, incredibly, well, people who are were eager to explain, hey, these are our products, and you see the interaction between company and potential buyers or clients. And I think it's maybe an underestimated thing in these days of where a lot of people are buying stuff online. And that's why I really want to buy as much as possible at a real company, that I can see the people, I can talk to the people, that I can interact with people. If I look into your eyes, that I can trust you, and not that you try to sell me something and with no quality, whatever. Martin Steed is saying some booths had free beer. I'm not aware of that, Martin, that there was free beer at some booths. Don't have any experience with that. Maybe some other companies, but I didn't have any experience with free beer. Beer for pizza exchange, yeah. Do I need to tell the pizza story then, or not? It's up to you. If you say yes, I tell it. If you say no, I don't tell it. Drum roll. Just have a look. Up to you. Well, yeah. Well, what happened was that, and there is some footage of it on Facebook. You can find it in the neighborhood of the PA engineering booth, were some Germans, and something happened. One of the evenings they overheard a conversation. Maggie wanted to send a pizza to her husband in the States for his birthday, and these guys were having fun. It's going to take a long time, pizza from here to the States. So the before last day, Dan and Miranda came to the booth, asked me if I wanted to play Pizza Man. So what they did was they bought a pizza, and Yannick, our German guy, he wrote a note, hey, happy late birthday. We put it into the pizza box, and they dressed me up with an orange hat, and I had to play the pizza delivery boy. So I went to the German booth, and mimicking kind of an Italian accent, and saying, I forgot the name of the guy, but let's say that it's Mark. I say, scusi, signore Mark, pizza from a PI engineering. And those guys, their faces, what's happening over here? And I spoke a little bit Italian later. That was Thomas. I said, scusi, pizza per il signore Thomas. And these guys, their faces were really incredible. And then he opened the pizza box and saw the writing about the birthday, happy late birthday, pizza from the States, delivered by PI Engineering. It was so much fun. Yeah, I think they are friends forever also with, but it's easy to get friends with PI Engineering. So I was a pizza guy for a small period of time. Maybe if I find the footage, I'll show it next week or so. Okay, guys, I'll stay, let's say, 3 more minutes. Then it's I've been 75 minutes. If you have any questions or remarks about today's show, please feel free. That, yeah, for me, the combination of working, having fun, and socializing is, if I could have a job like this, would be, I would leave every morning so happily to work. Yeah, but of course, it's not always like that. And but anyway, great fun. Okay, so I think that I can stop this now completely. I still find it a little annoying that you can't trim the videos if you want to keep the chat. Otherwise I could trim the beginning of the show and the end of the show, and because now there are 15 minutes just about me talking to the chat, I don't mind, to be honest. But for people who are saying, what, again, 75 minutes? The problem is if you trim your beginning and your end of the show, that you lose the chat. And I'd like to have a look myself what people were saying in the chat. Sometimes I miss a really good comment or fun comments that I can use in next shows. To end, no, Martin, I didn't get any free beer from the Germans, but I got a free beer from Dan, so that was good again. Okay, Amy saying here, I used to trim my pre-show, but I'm more thankful for real-time comments now. Yeah, I agree with that, Amy. If your show is about interaction, I don't think it's a good idea that you say, okay, I get rid of, unless you have a really annoying chat box. It would be nice if you could trim and keep your chat box. Maybe it happens one of these days, but one never knows what's going to happen with YouTube and Facebook, because a lot of stuff is changing or are going to change. So thanks again, have a good week, and I see you next week. Bye bye.